Sup fams, welcome to my channel, and today we'll be doing a spoiler discussion once again with Taigataro. So before we get on to the video, make sure you guys leave a like, comment, and oh shit, that was way too early folks, but whatever. Still, I mean, if you guys like this video, just make sure you guys like, comment, and subscribe, make sure to share your friends and hit the bell for notifications because it helps the channel a lot. And before we get on to review, we'll get a quick voice, or actually like a quick sponsorship. I'm kidding, I don't got sponsors.
I don't know. You could probably ask Raid Shadow Legends. They sponsor everyone.
I mean, if there's money, I'll be a hoe for a while for that, and then maybe I can get G Fuel, even though I need to lay off that G Fuel. So yeah. So all right, like Taigataro, how you been, man? So you can let the audience know how you been.
Yeah, I've been good. I kind of been a bit behind when it comes to watching movies and stuff like that. Just been, around the holidays, my work kind of gets super busy because that's when we get we do rice pudding and it's seasonal, so people are coming back for that. And not to mention you got like Halloween, Thanksgiving, and then Christmas all 3 months in a row, and so people are coming in from out of town and it's crazy.
Yeah, especially with everything else is opening up, that's when like a lot of people are like scrambling outside their household, which is cool. But then again, we still got limited supplies around. So
yeah,
like our AMC, like the AMCs that I work at, or just the one I work at, we can only accept card except for at box. They can take cash, but we can't take cash around concessions or anything like that because we have a change shortage. But yeah, no, overall, yeah, same here. I've been very behind. So sorry, everybody that have been slacking on this year. Hopefully I'll have this video uploaded by either Christmas Eve or Christmas Day. So it'll be my gift to you guys, or our gift to you guys, sorry, for at least, for me to not been active with content. So hopefully you guys will enjoy this video. And yeah, if you want to just get right on it. So
yeah.
yes, Spider-Man No Way Home. Shit.
When I first saw the trailer, I thought it was going to be pretty good just because, I saw Alfred Molina as Doc Ock, at the end of the trailer there. And I didn't really think much of it because I didn't like I didn't like the first two Spider-Man movies that had come out with Tom Holland. So I was a little bit worried, but as more trailers came out and then I eventually saw it, and it was amazing. It was great.
Oh yeah, it came out better than I thought. Like
it came out a lot better than I thought it would come out.
Yeah, I mean, as someone who I really love the first two movies, but then again, I do know that I have my issues with them. Is that I already talked about my franchise review, is that I really don't like the hand-me-downs that Peter has been getting. I really like my Spider-Man to be OG Spider-Man, but it's not that it's all that bad. It's just that I just feel that he's gotten easy over the first two movies, but now like this new one is like, all right, let's just get rid of all that, or like it actually like was on purpose to know that this is part of his development.
Yeah, that's how I felt. I felt like, he was kind of like Iron Man Jr., just kind of got everything handed to him. And I just felt like, I mean, yeah, he was wearing the Spider-Man costume, but like he just something was holding him back. But in this one, he was much better. So yeah, he's had a 5-movie origin story. So
yeah,
to becoming Spider-Man.
Oh yeah, no, it was all of that. I mean, it's cool because 3C Films made me appreciate the first two a bit more, because he's like, maybe that was the John Watts wanted us to see, like, oh, maybe take us to this direction, but actually like, no, we're actually scurrying in this direction, because it's just showing how the symmetry between the, like, basically where Peter in the first two movies was like, he has all this Stark tech, but now in this third one, he's like, he has nothing. He has to rely on his wits and everything, which is, he's basically on his own in this movie. Like throughout the whole time, in my opinion, it was just like, wow, it's like this guy, I mean, he's got help from his friends, but like, aside from that, he was just getting his ass beat throughout the whole movie.
Yeah, physically and mentally and emotionally. So but yeah, I guess let's get in the spoilers. The first thing that really threw me off, and the first, like when I saw it the first time, I actually kind of screamed was when they had Charlie Cox as Matt
Oh
Murdock come
yeah.
in.
Oh,
And the thing that I don't know if this was like the plan, but it was also the same week that Hawkeye was the episode of Hawkeye was coming out. You had
mhm.
Vincent D'Onofrio as
As
Kingpin,
Kingpin, yeah.
so that must have been coordinated somehow. But yeah,
Yeah.
I was super excited. Even my second time seeing it, my
Mhm,
friend, he was excited, not for the same reasons that I was, because he doesn't
mhm.
really have Netflix, and so he hasn't seen Daredevil. So
Yeah. Yeah, I really haven't seen much of the Netflix ones. I mean, I did get used to the Punisher. Actually, I was enjoying the Punisher. Like, I really like how that was going. Better than in my opinion, better than the movies that they've done.
yeah,
But
Punisher. He was even good in the Netflix Daredevil because he
yeah,
was, I wouldn't say like the main protagonist of season two, but
mhm.
a big portion of the plot kind of revolves around Punisher.
Yeah, and that's something that I'm glad they they did as yeah, and just seeing Charlie Cox as Daredevil is like I feel like it's now a blessing now that they've got canceled. Now they got like it looks like they're gonna be like added or actually making up for the cancellation of the shows.
Yeah, because there was like a weird period where Kevin Feige was like, yeah, it's canon to the MCU, and then after like I think it was like a little before Infinity War, they're like, yeah, it's not canon anymore, and then it got canceled, and then a few years down the road, here he is in Spider-Man. So
Yeah. Yeah, and same thing goes. I think they're gonna make him a tiny bit more apparently because I was watching a Double Toast's review on the Kingpin. Is that on Hawkeye and Kingpin? I've heard that he's from what I've seen, he looks like he's a bit more comic accurate compared to the shows, the Netflix shows, because he's actually more like violent and more like physically like he can rip anybody apart
oh
if he
no,
wants
he
to.
was the Netflix shows were definitely like, if you've got standard MCU, which is like PG-13, Netflix
Mhm.
Daredevil was like a
R
hard R.
rate.
Like it
Yeah,
was
it's
super violent and bloody.
yeah.
Like,
Sex scenes and everything. I remember those. Punisher has a lot of sex scenes, as far as I remember.
yeah, I don't think Daredevil had any sex scenes, but if it did, it was like the PG-13 sex scene where like they kiss and make out and then it just fades to black or something like that.
Yeah. But no, I know that Punisher has straight up like well not hardcore like porn, but like it had like humping and everything. I know that.
Yeah, yeah.
But no, it was yeah. Sorry.
Oh no, I wasn't saying
Oh,
anything.
sorry. No, I think I'm hearing things again. But no, it was really nice. I mean, Charlie Cox is he's playing the same Daredevil as we know and love, and I got so giddy right there. I just because actually we had a screening, a special screening for our AMC employees. Oops, sorry, but it's no, we were all like holy crap, Charlie Cox, and it was just like holy shit. I think I screamed a little bit, but I screamed a
Yeah,
bit more.
yeah. The
Yeah,
entire when I saw it, we saw it because it was like Thursday night because they do screenings for like the night before.
yeah, yeah,
So everyone was kind of in this huge uproar when it happened. And
yeah. I can imagine because actually, like during the during the end credits, like I it's basically what you hear from those YouTube audience reactions, the reactions on those videos. It's exactly like that when I was because I was helping out the ushers that day. Like I forgot what it was. I think it was on Saturday, and then we were like, there was like the Doctor Strange trailer, teaser trailer that came out like after the credits, and people were like, "Oh my god!" Ah! And then it's like, "Holy shit!" But no, I was yeah, it was cool. It's nice to see people going, "Oh my god!" Like, oh yeah, I actually that I mean, the only one that was kind of like meh reaction was the Eternals, but then again, like it was like late at night and people were still like tired as hell while the people were so energetic during the Spider-Man one. But then again,
yeah,
Eternals is a of course not for everyone, and I could tell that not many people know about the Eternals, and that's why they're like going nuts over like compared to Spider-Man and Doctor Strange. But it makes sense.
yeah, yeah. Uh, um, Speaking of Doctor Strange, I'm surprised he was in it for like as little that he was in it, which I thought
Yeah,
was nice because I didn't want it to be like a repeat of like Civil War and like the first one where he's relying on Iron Man and
yeah,
stuff like that. I didn't want it to be where he's relying on Doctor Strange for the whole movie. So
yeah, and the real loss. And I mean, Tony was a loss for sure, but then again, for me though, the real loss should have been someone who was actually who was there with him even before Tony. And I feel that Aunt May's the loss of Aunt May. I think that one actually more impactful than Tony
oh
Stark.
yeah, that one, the first time I saw it, like I mean the first day I saw it, they're like you could tell how many girls there were in the audience because they all started like bawling and sobbing. Like,
Uh,
and I couldn't get the full impact of the scene until I went and saw it a second time, and the audience was much better then. So
yeah, no, it was. I didn't cry. I wanted. I mean, it's funny because I didn't fully cry or like took because I was after I saw the movie, I didn't take everything in because I'm like I'm trying to process it. It's kind of like with the Last Jedi, I was trying to process everything, and with this one, like the next day after I saw the screening, I was like, oh my god, like I was tearing up. It took a late reaction, but I was like,
my second time seeing it, I was getting emotional. I mean, I almost cried, but like
yeah,
I could like I could feel my face heating up, and I was like, I'm trying not to cry.
yeah, it
Like,
was yeah, because I make an ugly face when I cry,
oh
and
yeah,
with the with the with this one with No Way Home, it was that I knew that she was already dead once the glider stabbed her. Like once it hit her, I was like, wow,
yeah.
it was just like I was like, oh, she's dead. I mean, then again, I was like, oh my god, they went there, and I'm like, all right, there's a good chance. There's a good
Like,
chance. And
yeah, because she's kind of like she's like, all right, let's go, and I'm like, oh, she's standing up, she'll be okay, but
okay.
no,
And because then again, it was very like right away. Then again, I saw like how she was clutching her chest, her like her abdomen or her lower
yeah, her
chest.
side or wherever.
Yeah, the whole time, and I'm just like, oh, she's hiding something, and yeah, of course, and it was yeah, and even as cool as that, she actually said, "With great power also comes great responsibility," like how the comic book was, not just like how we shortly say it, and that's actually pretty nice. Actually, I did not notice that until Martin Thomas from Double Toast pointed that, like, oh yeah, she's the first character in on cinema to say that, to say properly like the comics.
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah,
Um, yeah, I thought it was interesting because I know like we didn't get much development for Aunt May in these MCU movies because a lot of her development like happens off screen. Because like I think they
yeah,
mentioned, or at least she mentioned something about like because like Uncle Ben must have died off screen because I think she mentions that in one of the earlier movies,
yeah.
but I really can't remember. So it was nice to
Mm.
see that she actually did get some involvement with the plot and had some development and stuff like that.
Yeah,
And
and yeah, and it sucks that I really wanted Happy and her to be together, but then that's just not gonna happen, and that's actually really freaking sad. Like even sadder
yeah,
than what I
and
think
even the
about.
fact that like Happy kind of saw her dying was also kind of sad.
Yeah, and the last words he even said to Peter before he even remember knows Peter Parker was run, and that was it. And just
Yeah.
imagine, yeah, that's like before you lose any memory of him, that's the last thing you remember, just seeing this young boy run from like the FBI or something because they think you killed her or something. That's
Can't believe they shot him too. Like he got
yeah,
shot in the arm, and I was like, Jesus, dude.
yeah, and I was. I mean, I love J.K. Simmons as J. Jonah Jameson, but god damn, man. I know he's a parody of Alex Jones, but man, I kind of wanted to punch him after that.
Yeah,
Like,
he was a bit of a like in the first movies that he was in the first Spider-Man trilogy,
yeah,
he was more like the comics, but in this one he was more of a pushover and just kind of a jerk.
yeah,
Like
yeah.
he just felt like a like
Like he was. It's not because of the whole parallel with Alex Jones. It's because of how he was just blaming Spider-Man that he killed him. Like, oh my god, imagine if you're Peter Parker and you. Of course, you know what happened. Your aunt just died right in front of your arms, and then you see some dude blaming you for killing her. I'm like, dude, fuck you, man.
like
Like, oh my god,
Also, I think he was right there, like
yeah, he was
when all the
like,
villains were fighting him and stuff like
yeah,
that.
he
So
saw
I'm
it.
like, but and then speaking of the villains, all the returning villains were pretty good.
Yeah,
Um, I mean, Lizard was all right. He didn't have much to do because
yeah,
most of his development was in The Amazing Spider-Man. And
yeah,
then Electro, I thought he was decent, but
yeah. I was,
a
yeah,
lot of like now that I think back at it, and I kind of agree with some people, is like it really doesn't make sense as to why he's there because
yeah,
I don't think he was told that Spider-Man is Peter Parker in the Amazing
yeah,
Spider-Man 2.
yeah. And he,
Um,
yeah.
so that didn't make sense.
I mean, what
Uh,
make, yeah,
yeah, Sandman was pretty cool, but I mean, he really didn't do much. I mean, he
yeah,
was just there.
yeah. I like that he was still a good guy at heart for real until like he got manipulated by the Goblin, the Green Goblin, and Electro and all that stuff.
Yeah,
I mean, but he was already like a good guy from the start, and yeah, it was really nice to see them. I mean, yeah, it's because a lot of my coworkers and I were having a talk that way. So the spell is so this whole thing. People were like from the multiverse only know like they coming in because they know Peter Parker, and I'm like, well, Electro didn't never knew who he was. People were like, oh, what if he like Harry told him? No, Harry didn't know either. He just found out like
yeah. Harry found out
yeah,
at the end of the movie, and at that point, Electro had been defeated.
yeah,
So
pretty much he's dead. Like he exploded. So and I mean, people could have been like, I could have been like, well, no, people would have been like, well, why not just bring Dane DeHaan's Green Goblin? But then again, it's like, well, uh, I mean, he would have been obviously overshadowed by Willem Dafoe's Green Goblin, which I think he was the best.
yeah, yeah.
That,
Let's see, Alfred Molina. It was nice to see him again
yeah,
as Doc Ock, and it was nice that he also, like like Sandman, is just a good guy at heart. I like that he got redeemed early on and wasn't like the main villain and stuff like that.
yeah,
So either way, when he does get sent back, he still dies a good man. So
yeah, yeah. It was great, and damn, that's Lizard. We got to cover Lizard. Yeah, it was a funny joke though with Lizard. How yeah, I have an idea, and it's like, does it involve turn people into lizards? It was
yeah,
like, oh my god, no shit. But no, I really actually out of the least developed villains, again, I think Jamie Foxx, like the Electro, was actually the best one because I still sympathize with him a bit, even though I got like those Jim Carrey vibes from Riddler vibes from Batman Forever. I still sympathize with him a little bit, and
yeah,
here is like, whoa, actually, I understand why Peter would feel sorry for this Electro because he really just wants to be somebody this whole time, and it's like, oh, this world you can be like I can be somebody and not a loser and all that stuff. And it's just that, well, he has a ton of electricity and shit, which I really like his costume with really in this one. I mean, it's
yeah.
like,
And then of course Willem Dafoe as the Green Goblin. Man,
I
he
can,
stole
yeah,
the show. I mean, woke up in another universe and just started killing people. You know?
yeah, it's just, wow. I mean, not that I got overly upset, but I was just like, oh, I didn't get to see much of it. Was the helmet, the mask, he just shatters it. I'm like, oh
Oh
man.
yeah,
Because I'm one of those people that actually really loves the mask, even though like watching the original B footage that he was having the animatronic one. I mean, the animatronic one was better, but I mean, going with this one was really cool. But I mean, I get it. I mean, he need to express his goblin face more facially, which I
yeah,
actually
yeah.
love.
Mm.
That guy
Yeah,
was
he
shit.
was he was great, and like it felt like he had the sheer intensity and stuff like that he had from like the first Spider-Man movie, but then they just like took it up a notch and like dialed it to 11.
I even say like he's better. I mean, as much as I love him in the original, I think he's better here because he has way more to do, like all the screen time he had, and man, he chews every scene up just like he did in the original. But I think he chews it up even more here because this movie
Especially
can,
with the friggin' beat down he gave Peter Parker. Like,
yeah, yeah, no, it was. I think you were talking to somebody about somebody said, oh, since when did Green Goblin gain super strength? It's like, well, the serum gave him super strength. That's part
yeah,
of
he's always had super strength, even in the
yeah.
even in the movie. I mean, it wasn't
Yeah,
as intense like as it was in this movie because because with the suit that he had, his movement was very restrictive, at least at the time when it came out. But now he's a
yeah.
little less restrictive and stuff like that, so he can do more things.
Yeah, and especially how he gave that beatdown to in Spider-Man 1, he gave Peter that great beatdown. So yeah, that super strength really kicked in. He even gained some martial arts and stuff like that along the way. So it was, yeah, Goblin's just nuts. And just the way when Peter punches him, he just cackles at him. And it's just like, holy
Yeah, it's
shit, this
like,
guy. Go
uh,
ahead, sorry.
oh yeah, that
Uh,
it was a great fight scene. I mean, I I did feel bad for Peter Parker because he was trying to escape, but then Lizard just threw him back into the building,
yeah.
only for him to get thrown through all of the floors and into the main level. And
Yeah.
yeah,
Oh my God, but goddamn, like just the way they did those callbacks, especially when just a goblin, the glider comes in to stab someone. I was just like, holy shit. I mean, with Aunt May died when she got stabbed. Obviously, I'm pretty sure she got stabbed by the glider. Um, it was a callback to when he got stabbed. When he doesn't know, of course, because that never happened. But
yeah,
he got stabbed in the groin
yeah.
area.
When when Aunt May, I thought she was like gonna get stabbed, and it was gonna show her getting stabbed
Yeah,
instead of her like kind of just getting run over by it.
yeah, I think that's what
So
happened. Yeah,
I'm kind of glad they went that route instead of like showing her getting stabbed, because even for the MCU, that would be like super dark.
yeah.
I mean, this movie is already pretty dark, but I don't think they needed to dial it up a notch.
Yeah, because a lot of people are like, oh, like at least the first act of the film is like very like, oh, okay, your typical homecoming or like
Yeah,
installment. But then around the second night, that's like, oh no, 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 no. Let us give us a second. Let's pull the rug under you real quick. And that was like, damn, you pulled it hard.
yeah, they didn't pull any stops.
Oh no, that's when the movie like kept going and going, and it was like, holy shit. And then with the slow breathing moments, it's just like you're still trying to take
Yeah,
in what the hell just happened.
and you're still kind of tense, like, okay, maybe like one of these villains could just show up at any moment, like,
Yeah, especially the Goblin, man. That guy was just like I was on alert too when he was like, oh man, he'll show up in any time. So no, he knows he has a glider. He can really like conjure up some shit, and man,
yeah. I
it's
really liked how Peter did that one. He did like one of the moves he did on the Goblin was like it was a reference to the PS4 Spider-Man game.
yeah.
It's like he grabbed onto him and like they flipped around and he shot webs at the ground and then landed on him like that.
Yeah. Oh, man. Even
And
yeah.
then yeah, and the
No, go
next
ahead.
big thing was definitely when Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire came
Yeah.
back.
Yeah, it was as far as I know, I even asked a couple of the audiences that came over to my theater. It was I asked them who was the loudest cheer applause, and people were saying Andrew because when he showed up, people cheered like Andrew Garfield right there. And I mean, rightfully so. Even though that I cheered harder for Toby when Andrew came up, I really love how he got introduced. Like at a point, it fooled me. I'm like, oh, they
Yeah,
found
you're like,
Peter.
oh yeah, it's Tom Holland as Spider-Man, and he's just.
Yeah,
But then he starts coming close, and you're like, wait a second,
yeah. I'm
wait a
like, he's
second.
like,
Then he jumps through the portal. You're like, oh my gosh.
yeah.
And then he instantly takes off his mask, and you're like, oh my gosh.
Yeah. I was like, no, I screamed too because I mean, yeah, I grown. I mean, at first I hated Andrew, but then again, that was before I saw the movies. I was one of those dudes that judges before you watch anything. And then I saw the movies and I bought the movies actually, didn't just watch. Actually, I watched the two and then one, but I saw them and I was like, oh wow, these are I actually really like him. And I knew that was him right away from his slender physique. And I'm like, wait, that's Andrew, because especially with the how big his eyes
Oh
were, I'm
yeah,
like,
he's
that's
got the
Andrew.
big eyes, and
Yeah, and it's the way he like moves around. I'm like, dude, that's his sprint. That's Andrew's sprint right there, his slender ass coming up. And I really love his hairstyle here. It's like a mix between two and one, and it was like this
Yeah,
perfect.
still pretty floofy from the first movie.
Yeah, it was just, oh my god. And I like how he just took everything in really well. Like the multiverse, yeah, I was like, yeah, multiverse, that's awesome. I was like, holy shit, yeah.
Yeah,
Oh
and I
god.
like I like his little interaction with like Zendaya and uh and Peter's other friend Ned. They're
Yeah.
just like, "You're not Spider-Man." It's like, "I am Spider-Man." It's like, "Okay." It's like, dude, and she like throws bread at him, and it's like, "Yeah, I got the tingle thing, just not for bread."
Yeah.
But
And
then he sticks himself to the ceiling, just kind of hops up there, and she's like, "Okay, crawl around." And he's like, "What? Crawl around?"
like, isn't this, and no, like
Yeah,
this is like proven, no, like I was like, yeah, oh my god, it was, no, it was really great. And just seeing Ned's like grandma right there, it was her interaction was really funny. So
yeah. She was like, "At least have him take down the cobwebs."
yeah,
And
yeah,
then, yeah, I had a bigger like. I think I screamed louder for Andrew, but like inside, I had a bigger reaction to Toby than I did Andrew.
yeah. I
Just
mean,
be,
I
just
even,
because Toby is the one that I grew up with. That was the one that came out when I was a kid. So
yeah, I was like 8 years old when that came out. It was like, I
yeah,
was like, I was in, yeah, I was in like first or second grade, like 2002. I was like first or second grade. That's when it came out, and
yeah,
it was nuts. I remember the hype. I remember the hype of the first three movies. I didn't get a chance to see the first two in theaters. I did end up getting the first one for Christmas on VHS, and the second one I didn't see like much later when I got a little older. I actually saw it in California. I was vacationing in California. It was on cable, and I saw it. It was like the last two acts, which was cool. And then I didn't see it until like I was in like out of high school. I was in college, and I was like, hey, $5 DVD, and I'm like, I'll watch the whole time, and I just fell in love with it. And that was a theatrical cut. And I saw recently, I just saw the 2.1 version, and I'm like, I don't know. I prefer the theatrical one because just the jokes that are on the 2.1, it was just like, dude, okay, you need to get to the next scene because this is going too far.
yeah, yeah. I know. I saw the second and the third one in theaters, and then I
Yeah.
saw the first one out just like at home because it was like on VHS or it was on DVD or something like that.
Yeah, that was like the Spider-Man 1 was the first DVD I've ever seen. Like I didn't own it, but my cousin had like a DVD player. Like no, he had a PS2, and he showed me like the technology of it. And it was like, wow, that's so cool. And I saw Spider-Man 3 on the Saturday premiere, and it was really big. It was a packed theater, just like the ones that are packed now. And I remember still getting jump scared by Venom when Sam is like, all right, got you nowhere to run, Spider-Man, and just screams. I'm like, oh shit.
Yeah,
It was, yes, nostalgic memories. I still have a soft spot for three. Like even like a couple of my friends, even who are into film, they were like, "Yeah, we like three. Three ain't that bad if you really like just get past some of the cringe." But the cringe is so
yeah,
good though.
yeah, yeah. Yeah. But the final act where they were kind of, well, not the final act, but like I did like how I felt like the interaction between the three Spider-Men was
Yeah,
like kind of the heart of the movie.
yeah, that
Because
was,
like you've got the scene after May dies, and after Toby and Andrew are introduced, and you know, Tom Holland's Peter Parker, he's just super emotional, just full of rage, and they're like talking him down. They're telling him about, Uncle Ben, about Gwen Stacy, and how they don't want him to become rageful like they did and stuff like that. And I thought it was pretty cool to have the two older Spider-Men be like mentors to him.
yeah. I mean, they're still even act like young men. The other two Spider-Men, and with no, and I like how like as when Peter, like a lot of people, even some of my coworkers like brought up that then, well, since Peter doesn't want to go down that path, then why the hell we like try to kill the Goblin at the time? But then again, I
It's
mean, he
like,
did kill his,
I mean, he was only told that, like a few
yeah,
hours ago.
yeah,
So,
and I understand why he would try to kill the Goblin, and I like how Toby's Spider-Man stood in the way. I'm like,
yeah.
holy shit, yeah,
Toby, in this one, Toby's Spider-Man was like with Spider-Verse, like Peter B. Parker. that's how I felt he was. He was the Peter B.
Yeah.
Parker of this movie.
Basically the original like Peter Parker that we know.
Mhm.
Because it's funny because I mean, as big of a Spider-Man fan I am, is like I didn't read much. I was still kind of a casual comic book person, and I didn't know that his middle name was B. Like I think Peter Ben Parker, isn't it?
Yeah,
Benjamin.
yeah, Peter Ben
Yeah.
Parker.
And I'm like, who's this? Is this? Oh, that's the original. Okay, that's the original Spider-Man from when I saw Into the Spider-Verse, and I was like, oh, that's the Spider-Man we know. So
Yeah, that's yeah. Even so, like when they're all in the lab, I like some
oh
of
my,
like the newer cast's interactions with them. Like Ned is just sitting there next to Tobey Maguire and is like, "Oh yeah, do you have a best friend?" He's like, "I did. Uh, he he died in my arms
yeah,
after he tried to kill me."
he was a great friend. I was
And
like,
that was very
oh.
tragic. And then Andrew Garfield's like, dude.
Yeah. And oh man, yeah, I love how even Toby told him to like, man, you're like, you'll find someone new. It's like, just never give up. It's like, holy shit, this guy is
Yeah.
basically like the
Yeah. Then he mentions like MJ and stuff like that.
how it worked out, which is good because as much as I really enjoyed the relationship in the trilogy, I'm like, MJ, you're just being a bitch sometimes. Like, you need to chill.
Yeah. I think the thing that probably got the most laughs out of me um was when Toby revealed like he doesn't need web fluid, it just comes out of his wrists.
Yeah.
And like Andrew and like Tom Holland are like, what the, how do you make that? How does it come out of your body? And like, and then later, you know, they're all at the Statue of Liberty.
Yeah,
And they're
comparing
like,
each other.
yeah, they're like, do you have like a web block? Do you ever get a web block or something like that? And
Yeah, he's like, yes. I do like, hey, does it ever like come out of like,
yeah,
anywhere
somewhere
else?
else or just
Somewhere
the
else?
wrist. Yeah,
Like, no, it's just a, I'm guessing they saw. I'm guessing John Watts saw the out of the ass memes probably that people have been throwing around.
probably.
Yeah.
And then I liked how uh Andrew was like, okay, what's the weirdest villains you guys have ever fought? And Toby's like, yeah, I fought an alien made out of black goo.
I mean, Tom's
And
like,
then
oh
Andrew's
yeah.
like, I fought a Russian in a rhinoceros suit. No, no, no. No, because then Tom said, I fought an alien in space and on Earth.
You're like, oh,
And
you're like,
Andrew's like, I fought a Russian guy in a rhinoceros suit. It's like, I want to fight an alien.
yeah. It's like I saw him being the. I mean, like being the. I mean, it's the way, and then freaking Toby's the way. Hold on, no, let's get back to you fighting an alien in space. How did it get? You went into space.
Yeah, yeah, it's like, I want to fight an alien.
Yeah, freaking, and Andrew's like, oh, I'm pretty sure the
I'm
lame one.
just
Like, no,
lame. And Toby's like, no,
no, you're amazing.
this is the self-talk.
Yeah,
You are amazing.
you're amazing. He said it like a couple of way more than like 3 times.
He's like, just say it with me. He's like, yeah, I get it.
Get it? No, it was, and that just led to like I think is it just I think Toby's Spider-Man was playing around when he says, "Are you mocking me?"
Yeah,
it's like and then freaking
yeah.
like, no, he's not. It's like, geez,
It's
like,
like just we don't do that. We have to make our own food in a lab.
yeah, and it was yeah. Even I like how overly fascinated Andrew's Spider-Man was with the organic fluid. They're like, oh my god, what? How do you
Yeah,
make
how
that?
does that come out of your body?
He got so close to him. I'm like, holy shit, that guy really. He's really the out of the three of them. He was the one that's fanboying out of the three of them. I actually thought that Tom Holland was gonna be the fanboy one out of the three, but no, it was actually Andrew the one that's
Yeah.
fanboying.
I also I also like how Andrew like saw them as his brothers.
Yeah.
And like they're fighting Sandman and they're all kind of in the middle, taking off their mask. He's like, hey, I love you guys.
They're like, thanks.
Like, thank you.
Thank you. He wanted to. Sorry.
Oh. Yeah, and I also liked how Toby and Andrew, they're like, oh yeah, we've never worked on a team before. And Tom's like, yeah, I don't want to brag, but I was on the Avengers. He's like, the Avengers? Wow, I'm so proud of you. What is that?
Yeah. It was like, oh, you fought in the event with the Avengers. That's great. What is that? I'm like, holy shit.
Are you in a band?
Like you in a band?
It just makes me think of like when the MCU started and Avengers was coming out, like the Amazing Spider-Man 2 was coming out, the Amazing Spider-Man was coming out,
yeah.
And like all the memes of like where they did the photoshops of Toby or Andrew with the Avengers and stuff like that.
Oh my God, and that was I just love that. People are like, oh my God, that's Bully McGuire coming out. No, that's just basically the quippy that like basically if you guys wanted Toby's Spider-Man to be more quippy, there you go. But then again, he was in a way always quippy. It's just that I mean he was only quippy when he needs to be because like I mean shit, why the hell would you want to be quippy when you're just so much intense? But again, that is Spider-Man. He is quippy. And I think
Yeah.
even Stanley says that he's quippy just to hide the fear, aside from the mask, to hide the fear he's in the situation, which is oh cool. You mean all that stuff. So basically, yeah, there you go. Toby's always been quippy. So it was I just love how they just how they celebrated not just the three of them, but even Toby. Like it's been a long time since we've seen this guy, especially even with Andrew, how they ended with in bad terms, like until
Yeah,
now.
Toby was yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know how to feel knowing that Toby is like 20 years older, you
Yeah.
know, and then that makes me feel old, you know, by
Same.
comparison, because it's like I was a kid when these came out. So
Yeah. He was in his 20s too when he did that. So it was
yeah, now he's
nuts.
like almost 50, I think.
Yeah, and I mean he's got some wrinkles, but he still looks great.
Yeah.
It was nice, especially how Ned's grandma was just like flirting with him and stuff like that. So it was
Yeah.
uh and then I just love how even both Andrew and Toby were like, oh, so you're Spider-Man? Yeah, like I don't go out advertising it. Isn't that the whole point of an anonymous
Yeah, he's
superhero?
like, yeah. And Andrew's like, you just gonna go out as a youth pastor there, or do you got like
Yeah.
your suit on or something? And
He just like pulls
yeah,
out the suit. I'm like, oh shit. Like, yeah. And what this kind of also reference was like, especially when it's another reference to Superman when he rips his like the his outfit
yeah,
off and he shoots the symbol. So it was a nice callback to that too. It was really subtle with its callbacks and nostalgia. It was like it didn't like halt the movie at all. It was just like no, like they're important because one, a nice little win for the fans, but also two is that of course it's to like just to like progress the story. And it's like yeah, like where is your suit? I was like, you just yeah, just go. So I mean, Andrew's got a point. He's gonna go around with like a cool youth pastor, and they're like, oh, there it is. We both like clapped and shit. Like it was like five of us in the theater, and we all just like applauded when we saw like the suit right there.
yeah.
It was it was
I
cool. Mhm.
Speaking of the suits, I just and like Toby clearly got a new suit, but like
Yeah,
I wish that they colored it a bit different
yeah,
because sometimes when they'd be swinging around and stuff like that, I didn't know who was Toby and who was Andrew because their
yeah,
suits just they were colored so similarly.
yeah.
And the
Even
only way you could tell is like when they do a close up on their face and the eyes would be different.
yeah, like I think they made it a little wider. His eyes, Toby's eyes, like his eyes a bit wider. I think that's right. I mean, then again, I know for a fact the blue in his outfit is way more bluer than it was before. Like instead of dark blue, it's like more brighter blue. And I'm like, wait, is
Yeah,
that?
yeah, I definitely remember he had a bit more flatter colors, but they were still red and blue.
Yeah. And how funny it is that he actually ended up fighting Lizard. He said, "Oh, like this is weird," or like this is like something out of the ordinary for him. Is like, huh, or like this is very hard for him to like handle. Like holy shit. Uh,
I just thought it was funny, like Andrew, not Andrew, Toby got
yeah.
yeah, Toby got hit in the face with like web fluid, and then at the same time, Andrew got clotheslined by that same web, and because they're not good at working together, and he's like, ugh, gross.
Yeah, it was no. I liked how like it just. I mean, people could say, well, it's probably like Ex Machina shit, but it's like more like no. These guys do know how to work together. It's just that they need to like come up with a decent plan, or at least know which Peter, like Peter 1, Peter 2, Peter 3.
Yeah, I like
And
how Andrew's like, wait, why am I Peter 3? I thought I was
yeah, it's
Peter
like
2.
I probably like something there, but I also, I mean, I just really like the because in this movie knows that people's least favorites. I mean, I can even say that too. That Andrew's my least favorite, but then again, I think now it's becoming my second favorite because of this movie now. Because it's this movie makes it obvious that oh yeah, we all know that Andrew is the least favorite, so we're just trying to make the guy that the trilogy fans, the trilogy stands, so like hey, your Stan Lord is telling this guy that you hate he's amazing. So I like
Yeah.
that. And yeah, it's like he's the father. It's like he's like the dad, and Andrew's like the young older son, and like Tom is like the youngest son. It's like he's like the baby, and he has to father these kids. I'm like, it kind of like
Now
that.
since Andrew said they were like brothers, all I can think of is like Toby as like the awesome older child, right?
Yeah.
The super cool one. Andrew's like the geeky and weird middle child who doesn't get that
Yeah.
much love and attention. And then
Yeah.
Tom is like the youngest one who's just kind of spoiled and
Dude,
everyone
you know,
loves.
that's a perfect analogy for real. Oh, that's that is just not no, that is just crazy. Their relationship is the one that I mean, of course, Tom was great. Then again, I was a little worried too when I heard. I mean, when I know that these two are gonna be in the film. I mean, this is the worst kept secret in Hollywood history, in my opinion.
They tried to keep it as hard as possible,
But
but
even the Brazilian trailer gave it away. It was
mhm.
it gave it away, and I thought they were gonna upstage him, which they kind of did, in my opinion, a little bit. But then again, they didn't like overshadowed him because, and
Yeah.
that was my worry for him. That was like I thought it was in a way a bad idea. I mean, it's a great idea for us to see our two Spider-Man like get proper closure with their characters at least. But with Tom, I was worried that I mean, this is the last for now. This is the last movie he's gonna do for now, and we all know he's gonna do more. But he's for now. This is like the biggest. Like this is the end game for Spider-Man for him. And it's like I
Yeah,
feel
yeah.
I was a little worried as that man for especially for development. I feel like I was a little afraid he was gonna get overshadowed because I really enjoy his Spider-Man from the first two. It's just that I'm like it's missing things, and thankfully for me that was not the case for this one. It's like all right, the stuff that my criticisms for the first two is like they're fixed here. It's like oh I get it now.
Yeah, that's the same thing. Like, yeah, Tom Holland's Spider-Man was that I guess I really didn't like him because he got handed everything,
Mm-hmm.
And I also didn't like him because like he's never really lost like anyone of value. I mean,
Yeah,
yeah, I mean his parents and Uncle Ben kind of died off screen, you know, and we don't know how old he was when he was adopted by May, but
yeah,
and the fact that May was kind of still around, it's like he hasn't really lost anyone of value. And so he's not really, there was just the little things here and there that was really holding him back from being Spider-Man. And then once he
yeah.
became Spider-Man, he was a pretty good Spider-Man,
Yeah, he's like I'm hella excited where they're gonna take him, which that was what I wanted, and I got that. And then again, at the same time, I'm like, wait, where are they going with this? Just the way how they left it open, but then again, in a way, it's kind of like closure still, but it's like open for like anything can happen. It's like holy shit, and yeah, like the whole hand-me-down thing for me. All I gotta say is the last thing I'd say for now is just that I mean, there's nothing wrong with hand-me-downs. It's just that it's just so overabundant with the first two movies. It was just like, all right, come on now.
Yeah, yeah. I
Yeah,
mean, it was weird because like the first suit he ever made was kind of trash. And then
yeah,
Stark made his second one for him.
yeah.
So it's not, and even with his second suit that had like the red and the black, he
Uh-huh.
still used Stark's machine and stuff like that to make it. So it's not like he was making his own suit, but he did
Yeah,
make his own at the end of the movie.
yeah,
Um, I wish he kind of stood still long enough for me to kind of take it in during that
yeah,
final scene, but they've got still images out there on the internet of it, and it looks decent.
yeah. And with and also with yeah, I mean, it was cool because somebody on TikTok brought it up is that his criticism with Tom's Spider-Man was that in Homecoming it looked like it was they were gonna go with the whole like yeah he's gonna be his own guy at the end, doesn't need to rely on this technology, especially with like he had to rely on that suit like that old his first costume that he had like before when he was fighting Vulture at the end, and then they threw all that out the window in the second one, which I mean, I still love the movie, but then again, it's like, yeah, shit. It was like they threw a lot of that they threw a lot of that concept out the window, which was like, okay, he'll be his own guy. He'll don the Tony Stark suit, his suit that he gave him, but it's like, all right, but then again, he's gonna be his own dude, or maybe someday he'll make his own suit, and then all of that was just thrown out the window because of Tony Stark died, and here it's just like, no, we're just no, we're not. We weren't doing that this whole time. We're just gonna. It was all like on purpose It's like, oh, he has all this. Oh wow, he's not really the Spider-Man we know and love. But then all of a sudden, John Watts was like, that was part of my plan, guys. Like, hold on, let me nuke that shit out of the window in a fucked up way. And it's like, yeah, okay,
Yeah,
yeah, you did. We didn't expect we didn't expect you to make us cry like that, like seeing Aunt May die. But yeah, you didn't. Shit.
not to mention like it's like now it's like okay, everyone just forgets who he is, basically erasing him from existence. And so it's like, oh, all right.
Like that is yeah, we got basically the classic Debbie Downer Spider-Man that we know. It's like holy shit. And I wish, yeah, if I have any nitpicks at the end, is that I wish we could have gotten a clear, like a more long still shot of his new suit. Because I'm like, oh, I'm loving this. It kind of reminds me of a combination of the first two and his own, especially a little bit of the 2018, the PS4 game, a little bit for me. I think it's some of the glossiness that came with it. And I'm like,
Yeah.
oh shit, it looks cool. Yeah, and then we get a good money shot of it, and it's like, oh, it's over. Like, oh damn, I wanted at least like a longer shot of that, like his new suit when he's swinging around.
Yeah, my only nitpicks would definitely be like just how Electro was there, I mean, I didn't mind that they kind of gave Electro some closure and stuff like that, but it really didn't make any sense how he was there. And my other
Yeah.
nitpick was the mid-credit scene where they had Tom Hardy and Venom, and
Oh
like
yeah.
they brought them into the MCU just to take them out of it. And
Just to leave a
so
just to leave a symbiote, and it's like, well, I mean, then again, it also again creates another plot hole. Is that wait? I thought that you go back to the universe, you leave no trace of you behind. It's like, what the hell? It's like,
and then it's like
yeah,
but then I was just like, and I also wonder how like Tom Hardy's Eddie Brock got there, because
yeah.
Spider-Man doesn't exist in those Venom movies.
No,
So
yeah.
there's a bit of a plot hole or something that's not going right with the magic.
Yeah, or maybe off screen he probably knew a Peter Parker that he knew like on high school, and then maybe he moved from New York City to San Francisco, maybe. But then again, aside from that, we don't know because it could have been helpful if they had like a scene like that, or maybe like a little quick throwaway dialogue line like before it disappears, like, oh yeah, man, it's like, hopefully my friend Spider-Man, I heard that he's a scientist or something like that now. So I need to see my friend Peter Parker, I need to know like, because at least by that time, I think they're old enough that where Peter is a scientist. He was like, oh, I gotta see where he's at. I need to look for him. And then like, okay, maybe that's why he's there. Because maybe he knows a Peter Parker in his universe exists, that he's probably like already like a scientist, or maybe he knows like who a Spider, like a Peter,
Yeah.
like Peter Parker, but none of that is in it. It's like,
If
yeah,
they
then
were going to do Venom, they should have done Venom from Spider-Man 3.
yeah, I mean, it could have been cool if that when Peter blasted him away, it would have been like a piece, like an egg or like something left behind from Venom. But I mean, I think they were gonna go with that. I think they're gonna have Carnage in 4 or 5, and then that just got scrapped because Stan just hated the scripts, which understandable.
Yeah.
I did see storyboards on the Vulture fight though, which looked pretty violent, which could have been nice, but I mean, it's just storyboards. I mean, it'll probably would have worked out a bit different than on screen.
Yeah. But yeah, I do think that they're setting up like their own version of Venom for the MCU,
Yeah.
because there's a little piece of Venom that got left behind when he left the universe. So obviously they're going to do something with the black suit, and then they're going to have Venom be in it.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe maybe Venom will be like the main villain in Spider-Man 4 or whatever they're going to do with it.
Yeah. I mean, and maybe make a Sinister Six, like their own version of Sinister Six.
Yeah, I thought
Yeah.
it was Sinister Six in this movie, but there was only like 5 of them. There was only 5 of them.
I mean, if people, and one of my filmmaker friends was like, well, you can count maybe like Vulture, Mysterio as a dishonorable mention or something like that. It's like, yeah. I mean,
Yeah,
yeah.
but they weren't really in the movie as villains.
Yeah, they were just there for Peter to try to help them out. And yeah, it was. Then again, not even, especially in the trailer, not only three of them were, they were mostly fighting three villains around there. I mean, Doc Ock was just, I don't know where he was, but yeah, that he was, it was mostly like 3 against 3.
But yeah, I am kind of glad it was a bit balanced out and
Oh
stuff
yeah,
like with the fights and stuff.
yeah, and also, damn that the comedy, I feel like it actually came out natural again this time. Just like Shang-Chi, I felt like the comedy came out natural again. It's like, wow, it's not overly forced sometimes. That was just me though.
I think I definitely would have wanted, like, if they were going to have all the villains, they should have at least like put another like 10 minutes or so on it, and then
Yeah,
have, like, you know, Green Goblin break Vulture and Scorpion out of prison or something like that.
yeah,
Because Vulture was in prison at the end of Homecoming, and then they kind of alluded to Scorpion, you know, because there was like a guy with a tattoo there. And
yeah. And he looked the Hispanic, so they're gonna go with the Hispanic or the Latino Scorpion, like in Into the Spider-Verse. How he was like, I think he was Puerto Rican or Dominican in that one.
mm,
Yeah, he was. I really like that design. It was really cool in Into the Spiders. But yeah, honestly, like speaking of Into the Spiders, I feel that I still like Into the Spiders a bit more than this one. I feel like that one executed a bit better because it was more of a Miles story rather than like multiple Spider-Man story. I feel, but that's just, I think that's just me. Yeah.
but uh, I I liked Into the Spider-Verse. I mean, I think I liked this movie a bit more
Mm-hmm.
just because I've got that, you know, that emotional attachment to
Yeah.
Andrew and to Toby, to, you know, Willem Dafoe, to
Yeah.
mm, you know, to all these characters. And I guess seeing them all together, you know, on the big screen is kind of something, you know, I guess I've kind of always wanted, you know.
Yeah, I mean, we and I thought I was at first I was a little mixed on it because I, oh yeah, yeah, because F Tom Holland or some shit like that. I was not really like that. I was like, yeah, no, I just want to see them again. And I thought in a way though it was gonna be a bad idea because I don't want it to overshadow Tom because I really want to like, I want him to be developed the way he should be in my opinion. But no, it did not. It turned out no. I think we all needed this movie to happen because it was not just for nostalgia, but I think it's just like a closure for all three of them at least because it's like, I mean, just the way how 3 and Amazing Spider-Man 2 ended, it was just like shit.
Yeah. But now that I've seen, you know, now that I've seen Andrew again in this, I kind of want them to make the Amazing Spider-Man 3.
Yeah. And now there's rumors now that they're also going to do a spider, like there's rumors about that, and there's also rumors about a Spider-Man 4, but it's like animated or something like that.
Hmm.
I was like, I mean, okay. I mean, it's cool, but yeah, I would like to see an Amazing Spider-Man 3. I want to see like the aftermath of the Rhino fight because I really love Rhino in that movie. That's just
Yeah, yeah, I can't believe that they yeah, I kind of thought they'd maybe bring Rhino into the movie
yeah.
so we
Then
could
I
at least, because I just wanted, because in all the trailers it had the Rhino fight, but the Rhino fight was just at the end of the movie.
and it was barely even a fight. He just threw a sewer lid at him and then
Yeah,
it
just
was
threw a
again.
sewer gate at him. And
Yeah, it
but
was.
I felt that if we got the Amazing Spider-Man 3, it probably would have taken place like right at that fight.
Yeah, it's. Oh, we're seeing how he beat a Lexi and all that stuff because I really love that suit. I thought I was not gonna like it. Oh, that's not Rhino. That thing is just a giant mech suit. But then the way it was executed in the movie, I'm like, holy shit, I love it. It's like he still has a lot of room for his head to pop out, and then like once he's ready to like do his thing, he just pops back down. I'm like, holy crap! And I love how he runs as a Rhino. Is very like flat, like articulate. I'm like, dude, this is so cool. No, I ended up really loving it, especially Paul Giamatti's acting was really cool. I really liked it the way he is. And shit, I heard there was gonna be like a Hot Toys of it. I think there is, but it's like huge as hell. It's like huge.
Yeah, those hot toys. Those the hot toys look nice, but I can never afford them.
Yeah, I don't think I got
I
room
try
for
to
it.
save for them, but it's like I can't.
Yeah, I'll wait for like a NECA or something or a Bandai figure or like a Marvel Legends one because I would love to get a Marvel Legends Rhinos figure with like articulation and you get to like pose him like when he's like running and maybe like have like Alexi's head pop out like or something like that or something like that. Yeah.
I don't know. I just keep thinking how I'm a bit sad that we didn't get to see Venom, Tom Hardy's Venom and Tom Holland's Spider-Man interact.
Yeah. Yeah.
Whatever, if they
Really,
did, then the MCU would, be obligated to give them their one F-bomb, you know.
yeah.
And I
Oh
don't think
yeah.
they would have liked that.
Yeah, because really, I feel this movie made a lot of people who the people like the characters that people disliked really like fall in love with. It's like it's crazy. Like actually, I like Lizard fine in the original Amazing Spider-Man, but here I actually really liked him a lot because I think it's because of the lines he was given. It was just like, holy shit, this guy's really funny. Like he's really funny. I wish I wish I got more Lizard and all that stuff, but I mean, you can only develop so much characters.
Yeah, he looked cooler in this movie, Lizard did, than he did in The Amazing Spider-Man. Because in The Amazing
Yeah,
Spider-Man, they gave him that creepy, super like photorealistic human face.
yeah,
And in this one, it's like his face was never like that in the comics, but like he did have a smaller and less dinosaur or crocodile shaped head.
yeah.
But in this one, it's definitely not a superhuman face, but still looks more like a lizard.
Yeah, like he looks very menacing. Like holy shit! Like especially with the lighting and the CGI, just the way that his prison was lighting his eyes. I'm like holy shit! Like I don't want to step in with him. I don't want to step in. I don't want to get near him. That dude is just
I
insane.
I would have preferred him in over Willem Dafoe's Goblin in this.
Oh
Like,
yeah, never. Yeah, yeah. No, holy shit. Yeah, even I mean, I sympathize with him when he was like when it looks like he was like not in when he was acting all innocent. But then again, I feel that maybe this whole time he was just playing with them. He was toying with them.
yeah, because I'm like, I've seen the first movie. I know he's just playing. He's gonna snap, and when he does, it's gonna be great. And it was. I mean,
Yeah, it was the way it was just done. Oh my god, I just love how he
the way
just
it was done was super eerie because, like, his spider sense was going off, and at first
yeah
I thought it was like they were gonna have Venom show up, or they were gonna, or like he sensed, J. Jonah Jameson or something like that.
yeah
But yeah, I
yeah
wasn't expecting Goblin to come out and just beat the hell out of him.
yeah. It was just like 180 real quick. It was like I mean, I feel like he was playing around, but then again, I maybe deep down I was like, you know what, maybe that is Norman that's still sane. And then at that time, I think that's when his spider sense went up. That's when the goblin awoke again or something like that. That's like, all right, now I'm taking over Norman. So it's like, yeah, because man, he's. But then again, he's yeah, Norman and the goblin like they're a trickster. They know how to fool people. They know how to
Yeah.
manipulate. I mean, it's easy for him to manipulate Harry Osborn and all that stuff. And yeah, uh, at least they mentioned him in the movie. Like, oh my, I mean, I went to my house and somebody else was living in my house. My son. I was like, oh shit.
There's no Oscorp, and
Yeah,
he definitely was great in this. I did like how there were some moments in the movie where like a lot of it was like memes, like a lot of popular Spider-Man memes and stuff like that. Like Willem Dafoe's like, I'm something
uh,
of a scientist myself, and
yeah. And
and
I
I
think,
and
uh-huh.
I thought his friend Ned had some pretty good moments. But it
Oh
was
yeah,
more like near the end when all three of the Spider-Mans were there.
yeah.
He's like, Peter, and all three of them are like, what? He's like, no, Peter, who is Spider-Man. He's like, we're all
Bro,
Spider-Man. He's
Spider-Man.
like, okay, Peter Parker. And
Like no, that's not gonna help me. That's really
yeah.
like that's not. They all. I love how all once they said the same thing.
Hmm. And
Yeah.
my let's see, probably my other favorite moment of his was definitely uh, I really can't. Oh my gosh, I'm trying to remember. Oh yeah, he's he's like, oh yeah, I can. Oh yeah, here I got the computer for you, and here's your web cartridges. Don't worry, I'm definitely not gonna become evil and kill
Oh
you.
yeah.
And
Oh
Toby and
yeah.
Andrew just, they pat him on the shoulder, give him a wink, and they're like, good job.
Yeah. Freaking Tom is like, okay, thanks, buddy. I just love it. At least there's at least humor to elevate it. After this whole everything ever is just nuts. And I also like that Toby's Peter Parker was like, oh, I've been trying to like invent like a cure for Norman for like this like for a long time. I was like, what? Hey, at least he's
Yeah. I mean, he only knew about, Norman, when they first fought and stuff like that. So
yeah, maybe just to, and I think also like it also like inspired him after the death of Harry, how like, it's obvious that he took the serum himself. And it's just yeah, it really is. I like that nod, and also like it shows the scientists of Toby's Spider-Man because a lot of even from the trilogy,
that was something that was kind of overshadowed in those first three movies.
yeah,
It was
yeah,
like, yeah,
uh-huh,
he's seen with, he's seen in Dr. Connor's class, he's seen with Alfred Molina discussing science, but you never actually see him do any, experiments or
yeah,
anything like that.
yeah, and it's basically he said basically I think he also talks about science projects he's done and all that stuff, like the intelligent ones, but it's still like it's only been discussed. You don't never see it, and then here you finally get to see him be a scientist. It's like holy shit, and he's really good at it, just like Andrew and Tom. Like he's just as good as they are, and it's like holy shit, look at that. I mean, some of the stuff we always want to see Toby do. There you go. We see Toby do what we want to see him do. So it was such a cool thing, and I just also like how Andrew has his science coat.
Oh yeah, put on the lab coat and
You put on the lab coat, and he's the only one there, and it was the only one with the lab coat. And it's just so cool. It's just really nice to see them interact. And in a way, I expected like all three of them to react like, "Oh my god, you're Spider Man!" No, they're like on alert. Like, wait, who are you? You're Spider Man.
you're like, wait, if he's not your Spider-Man, then
Yeah. And who is it? Yeah,
it's kind of something that's like that they've kind of got in the comics. Like, I don't remember what it was called, but like when they started doing Spider-Verse stuff, they basically made it like it's part of their spider sense. Like they know if there's more than one, Spider-Man, Spider-Woman, or something like that,
uh-huh.
like on the planet as them and stuff like that. It's kind of hard to explain, but when they started with Miles and then they eventually did the Spider-Verse stuff, that's kind of when they started doing that. And even with Into the Spider-Verse, there was a
Yeah.
scene where like Miles was there with Spider-Man and their spider senses are going off and they're like, oh
Oh,
yeah,
you're
you're
just
just
like
like me. And
yeah.
yeah,
But yeah, they didn't attack each other. But here I think in a way they kind of attacked each other. Or
yeah,
I mean, yeah, with that fight. I mean, Toby won the fight for sure.
yeah,
Yeah, he's not as dumb as people think he is sometimes. Like, oh, he's not sciencey or quippy. He's like, well, he in a way he knew exactly that to stop the web threat, you had to like at least web the fluid
well,
that
I mean, yeah, I mean, part of me was like, how did he know to shoot his wrist? But I'm like, well, if he's thinking they're like him, then it's gonna come out of their wrists. So that's how he's got to stop them. And
yeah. No, it was yeah, it was. So it's like I think it's one of those like winks at the eyes. Like, who would win in a fight? Like it'll be like Toby or Andrew. Like Toby or Andrew's like, oh, Toby. But then again, it's kind of like a joke. It's not like something to be. Actually, that's something I never want to see. Like both of them fight. Like which multiverse one would win? I'm like, I don't want to see that because it's like,
yeah,
yeah,
I did like that Andrew got closure as well, because like he couldn't save Gwen Stacy at the end of Spider-Man 2, but
Yeah, I was gonna bring that up. Yeah.
he did save he saved Zendaya when you know
Yeah.
when Tom got ran over by Goblin. He was able to save
Yeah.
her.
Yeah. And he was
The
just
line
like,
exchange at the end was pretty funny.
yeah, it's
Like
still
he's like
yeah.
choking up, he's about to cry. He's like, "You okay?" He's like, "Yeah." And after a
Really.
pause, she's like, "Are you okay?"
Yeah. Oh my god, yeah, it was really funny. Now Zendaya was really good in this movie. Like I
Yeah,
really
yeah. She was a lot better than she was in the past movies. I really didn't like her all that much
yeah. I
in the first two movies.
Yeah. I liked her more in the first movie than the second movie. If I'm gonna compare the to the first two, it's like I liked her because how funny she is in the first movie, in my opinion. But in the second one, it's like, wait, what? Where is this romance coming from? At first, I thought it was all right. They're cute together. I mean, but then again, it's like, where is this coming from? It's like, what?
I think it was just they just did it because they just name dropped, you
MJ.
know, MJ at the end of the first one.
Yeah, and here
I
is
mean,
like
it's they've kind of always done that in the MCU, which is weird. Like they put Bruce Banner and Black Widow together for some reason.
yeah, even though that in the comics, as far as I remember, one of my friends told me is that mostly Nat and I think Steve hook up for a while.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's very hinted at too within the movies is that how like especially how they get more development than what she has with Bruce. It's like what? So wait, why didn't
yeah,
she?
it was a bit weird considering at the time Bruce Banner was really only ever in Avengers. Meanwhile, Nat, she was in Iron Man 2, she was in Avengers, she was in, Winter Soldier and stuff like that.
And she had more screen time with Cap with Steve this whole throughout most of the movies, and it's like
Yeah.
what the it's like what the hell? Are you guys gonna do it or not? But it's like nah, we're just gonna give her with we're gonna like hook her up for a little bit with Bruce, but not really because she's dead now. So it's like okay.
Yeah.
But here it's like, all right, cool. It's like at least it's. I mean, of course they don't know who he is, but I feel that I don't know. I feel that maybe he's gonna try to get with her, but then again, maybe not. Because I felt that I think maybe he kind of let her go for now, like instead of just going after her right
Yeah,
away.
they were kind of hint like, and then again, I don't know how you exactly tell, your memory wiped girlfriend that you saved the multiverse and
Yeah,
also that you're Spider-Man and stuff like that. She just doesn't remember it. And
yeah. It was it was nuts. It really is nuts. And at least the disastrous events are not erased. It's just the memory. And at least people know who Spider-Man is, but they don't know who Peter Parker is. So it's like, holy shit. It's-
yeah, that kind of hurt me. Like when they were at, May's grave and Happy was like, "Oh yeah, I knew May through Spider-Man," and it's like
like,
that
yeah,
kind of hurts.
yeah, I was like, holy shit, even Happy doesn't know him. It's like, holy crap. And actually, looking back, not trying to get choked up, but it's really sad when she understood that the spell that needs to be like done to like reverse everything. And she was crying. She told him like, and even I think even that tells him is like, you don't like you go find me. It's like,
Yeah,
fuck. I
like
was like that because that yeah that was just like oh my god like don't forget that like just go find me after this. It's like oh my goodness
it's even
this
gonna
is
be weird considering like all the Avengers and stuff like that that are left over that knew he was Spider-Man don't even know who he is now. So you've
yeah
got Doctor Strange who doesn't know. You've got, you know, whoever else knew him. Everyone from Endgame and Infinity War doesn't know him anymore. So
yeah. And of course Tony of course he would if Tony was brought back he would not know him.
yeah,
It's oh my god this movie really defines like with great power comes great responsibility and holy shit is the responsibility bar so high up in this movie. It's like holy shit.
yeah,
Yeah, sorry.
yeah. I just wish that they just did the spell again. I mean, if they did the spell where they had him forget he was Spider-Man, then I feel like that would have them interfered with the other universes.
Yeah. Oh my god, this is when it's like when you take everything, when you finally take everything, it's like holy shit. This is like the most Spider-Man movie I've seen right now. It's like this is a true Spider-Man film, and this he sacrifices everything. It's like shit. That is very Peter Parker. That is Spider-Man right there. Like just the sacrifice he's done. That's Spider-Man. This is like a true hardcore Spider-Man movie, and it knows that it's made for the fans, and it's like holy shit. It's
Yeah.
it's nuts, and it's like wow. It's like yeah, it's like top three best Spider-Man films for me because it's like it's everything that in my opinion the Spider-Man films should be, especially in live action.
Oh yeah, for sure. I also liked how he did kind of try to like redeem everyone and stuff like that. I mean, I normally don't like redemption stories,
Yeah,
especially if like, they've done something super, super evil, and they're just beyond the point of no return.
yeah, Kylo Ren.
But, the thing was that, all of the villains were just good people, but you know, it was just their own curiosity and like everything like that kind of put them down this path. So
Yeah, and it's a second chance, and even it's very meta too. How like it's also a second chance to like flesh these characters out and to yeah, like just to bring back Toby and Andrew back in a meta way. Like this is like a second chance. It's actually one of the themes of the film, in my opinion, of second chances.
yeah,
It's yeah. At first, I was just like, "Oh, come on, Peter, you're being too oversensitive and too getting too close with them." But then again, it's like the way it was done. I'm like, "Oh no, man, I actually agree with Peter here. Is like, yeah, let's see, let's try to give these guys a chance at least. I mean, I'm still eyeing on Norman right there. I'm like, all right, I'm keeping an eye on you, but still, it's like,
yeah. Even with that fight at the end, like there was a few times where like Tom Holland is like his Peter Parker, he was just kind of going ham on
yeah,
Goblin there at the end, and there's like he jumps in the air and then he misses and makes a huge dent in the ground, and you're like, yeah, that would have definitely killed him if it, you know.
connected.
But even so, you're just kind of like he should kill him, but then Toby jumps in the way, and then you're just kind of there, kind of like in Tom Holland's brain, like what do you do? What's he gonna do? And mhm. But it was great that he was redeemed, and
Yeah, it's just the way. I think it's even before he became the Goblin, he was kind of already like a douchebag, anyways. Like he was a
yeah, he was. I
manipulator.
mean, he was a nice guy. He was just kind of, he was kind of mean and kind of strict
Yeah,
just because of his money and stuff like that. He could just do whatever
yes,
he wanted, but he
yeah.
wasn't by no means, a villain or an evil
Oh
person.
no. Yeah, he was just kind of like a douche. That's what he is.
Yeah,
And he was not a horrible person because I know he was a good person deep down. It's just that, especially like since he's also a scientist, he did like, started Oscorp and all probably he a lot, especially since during that time, it was when the military was like on his ass about like, oh, when are we gonna like get this serum? When are we gonna get this done? And then his assistant was like back to formula, and he got mad over that because that means like, holy shit, really back to formula? That sucks. Because I've been there. I'm pretty sure we all been there before when we had to go back to formula and all that stuff, which is like fuck, and a
yeah,
waste of money, waste of resource, waste of everything. And his greed got the best of it when he tried the serum. Like, all right, let's do this test, and then yeah, even to the symptoms, even I was a kid, I didn't get it at first. I mean, I agree smoke, of course, but then again, even as I got older, I didn't get it. But then again, as I got again, like when I finally owned it on DVD, and actually no, I watched it on VHS when I popped it in as I was like in high school. His assistant was like, the side effects are insanity. He's like, oh, okay, that's why he's nuts all of a sudden, and
yeah,
super strength, insanity, and they had a lot of failed tests, and it's like shit. Even Norman, I'm like, dude, like, are you sure you want to test it on yourself, especially with all the test subjects went nuts? Uh,
yeah. I think I don't know. Yeah, now that I've seen this, I just wish like there was a longer cut with more of the Spider-Man villains from the movies. Like
Yeah,
even if they added in Goblin from the Amazing Spider-Man 2 and just had him interact with Norman, like
yeah,
like this movie is like 2.5 hours long, but the pacing is really good. And
yeah. I
so
was
it
gonna, yeah,
it feels super short, but then when it's over, I'm like, I really want more of it. I want to see him fight more villains. I want to see this. I want to see that. And
yeah. And I feel like we're gonna get. I mean, we did. Then again, it was never released on home video, but I mean, we did. I remember having a. We were screening an extended cut of Far From Home, but it was, I believe, mostly just the short film that was already on the Blu-ray and 4K. I think when he takes over those, when he just, it was in the trailer, like it was when he told the cops that, oh, I'm just doing your job, and now I'm gonna go on vacation and all that stuff. Like, oh, it's mostly just that probably.
oh,
And yeah, but with yeah, I mean, at first I was cool with the 2.5 hour long runtime, but then again, I'm like, yeah, I would go for a 3 hour like director's cut. If there is one, I mean, I'm down. I mean, I pre-ordered. I mean, you can pre-order the Blu-ray DVD at 4K now, but then again, it's again nothing's
it's
on it
got
right
no information aside
now.
from being the Blu-ray.
Yeah, just I mean, I was gonna thinking of getting it on 4K because I love this movie so much. I was like thinking of getting it in 4K, but I'm like, well, it'll not be fair for my other MCU films, especially with my DCEU films. All I have is one 4K, which is the. Then again, it makes sense because with the Batman v Superman, the Ultimate Edition on 4K, because it's the IMAX edition. So I was like, okay, I can't own it any other way, so I'll just own that.
Yeah,
Yeah, so I mean, I'll get these on 4K. Maybe I'm waiting for 4K re-release of this Raimi trilogy. I heard there is one coming out in 3 months, but like it's missing the editor's cut of Spider-Man 3 and it's missing a lot of stuff. It's like, no, I'll just wait for maybe anniversary
I'll
set. But
just stick with my first release Spider-Man 1, 2, and 3 DVDs. Thank you.
yeah, yeah, I'm still keeping those because I had the limited edition booklet that came out during when Homecoming came out. They released all the other movies on book box sets, and the one that the Sam Raimi is called the Origins Collection, which is okay, cool. But then again, it has almost everything minus the still galleries and the TV spots because I really love the still galleries because it shows the evolution of the Green Goblin, how like his designs were before the final cut. And I'm like, oh, none of that was carried over. And it's like, shit. I mean, other than that, the only thing that's not carried over is, of course, the video game tutorials for the games and all that stuff. But other than that, I really wish they added the still galleries and TV spots, but everything else is ported over. But and for the Garfield duology, actually, it has everything. Like even the like Walmart and Target exclusives are all in there, which is cool.
Hmm.
Just that when you get the 4K edition of Amazing Spider-Man 2, I heard it's even from what I've seen looks pretty ass because it's not a huge difference. So it's one of those not well transferred Blu-ray 4K Blu-rays. I mean, the Blu-ray looks, from what I've heard, looks way better than the 4K, which is like, oh, what the hell?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, this is when 4K was new, and even Sony was like fucking around with 4K because I actually got the Ghostbusters 2016 remake recently on 4K, and it's so weird. The 4K disc is the extended cut only. The Blu-ray is a theatrical cut and extended, and the 3 that comes with it is a theatrical. So I'm like, what are you doing? It's like, what the hell is this? Uh, but yeah, it's yeah. Yeah, like you say, I'll stick to my old collections for now. I mean, I'll buy them on 4K until maybe Disney or somebody can give us the IMAX editions of the Infinity Saga, even Shang-Chi and everything else, because yeah, they're really not giving a shit about physical media. And yeah, even
Shang-Chi is one of the ones, like, I see it at Walmart, but I'm like, and I keep telling myself to buy it, but I'm like, I kind of want to get it like as a steel book, but I just don't know where from. And I'm like, if Walmart had a steel book, then I'd buy it.
I just got this, yeah, I only got the standard Blu-ray edition, and a lot of folks were mad that no IMAX scenes were there. Like it was shot in IMAX. It's on Disney Plus and it's beautiful, but I mean, I expected this because Disney doesn't care for physical media. They want you to get into streaming, and yeah, I even heard that they also messed up the audio again. But because with Black Widow, it felt kind of like, I mean, it sounded nice, but it felt like, especially with the scenes where like especially with when you see Taskmaster like hit her with the car out of nowhere in the bridge, like I'm pretty sure, remember if you've seen it, remember how loud it was, like the impact.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it was like boom, but in the Blu-ray, it's like like what the hell was that? It was, and then Shang-Chi, I've heard it's like, yeah, it's the audio is flat again. It's like what are they doing? It's like you have to buy the 4K for the Atmos to get the better soundtrack. It's like, no, I mean, I don't want it on 4K. And there's also a not Black Widow, but for Shang-Chi, unfortunately, it's 2K. And most of these modern movies are done in 2K. So I mean, I'll just get the Blu-ray with so No Way Home. I went with the with the Blu-ray because I'm like, well, it's not fair for the other first two, and why not? The only Spider-Man 4K that I have is Into the Spiders, but then again, that it came with my 4K player. It was like free or something.
Oh really?
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
like,
I don't own any 4K movies. I'll probably have to get one eventually because I
oh,
do. I've my PS5 does 4K, but I I'm one of those people who can't see the difference between like, what I saw in the theaters and like 4K and stuff like that.
yeah, yeah,
I mean,
it's
sometimes I can kind of tell when it's like 4K and like 60 FPS because it just looks a bit unnatural, because of how good it
yeah.
looks.
Hmm.
But I really can't tell the difference sometimes.
Oh yeah, it is a hard sell for 4K. I mean, I see the difference when it comes to stuff like that, but then again, it's because a lot of, I think, even I don't know about for No Way Home, but a lot of the, especially the MCU films, are shot on 2K digital cameras, and that's why like even on 4K you don't see much of a huge difference, aside for like HDR and all that stuff. And yeah, I mean, I think there's a couple of like 4Ks right now that I can recommend, like modern movies, like Godzilla versus Kong is one of them. It was shot with the Arri Alexa 65s. It was shot on 4K cameras, and I even popped in the Blu-ray just in case before I reviewed the disc on my YouTube channel, and I've noticed the striking difference between the two. It's like, holy shit, the 4K is like, fuck. It's like,
Yeah.
god damn, like the opening logos of Warner Bros. Logo, like I really, it felt really three-dimensional. But then again, it depends on how they do it. So it's like, I mean, I know the 4K for No Way Home for sure it's gonna look amazing because Disney's not really the ones doing it. It's an MCU film, but Disney are not the ones who are manufacturing the discs. It's Sony, and Sony, they invented the 4K and Blu-ray disc, so they're the best at it. Like compression and quality control, that's like, it's always number one, aside from like Criterion, like Arrow or Shout Factory and all that stuff. But when it comes to big studio labels, it's Sony's the one that they perfect the format, because it's not just because it's theirs, it's because they actually like give a damn and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
yeah, but No Way Home, I'm sticking with the Blu-ray because I mean I'm fine with it, and sometimes even the Blu-ray covers look better than the 4K covers. Like I like Shang-Chi's Blu-ray cover than the 4K cover in my opinion. I prefer that one because it's basically like one of the original posters.
Yeah. I haven't gotten much like in terms of Blu-rays
Yeah.
recently. Like I've got the Blu-ray for I got the Blu-ray for like because Mill Creek has been doing Ultraman releases.
Yeah, they have.
I've got the Steelbook Blu-ray release for the original Ultraman, plus the Birth of Ultraman. Um, Ultraman Gaia is actually it's not a Blu-ray release because they don't have a Blu-ray transfer, in Japan. So it's just a DVD release.
Oh, yeah, because I know how Japan works. It's like if we don't have a Blu-ray or 4K, you can't have it either, which is, I think it's really stupid. I understand for pirating and all that stuff, I get it, but or imports, they don't want people to import, but it's like, I mean, come on now.
Yeah, yeah, but I mean, it looks good to me either way. Plus, I get
Yeah.
to own like all these shows, that I liked as a kid and
Oh
stuff.
yeah. Yeah, I just bought the box set for All in the Family on DVD because I keep telling myself I'll get it eventually, but then again, Shout had a sale on it, so I was like, all right, I'll pick it up now. And Yeah, there was like two loose discs on it, but then again, they were not really badly scratched at all. They still work fine, so they're still new. And yeah, that's really a shame that I even for right now, I only have Ultra Q on Blu-ray when it comes to the Ultraman series for
Mm,
the Mill Creek, and I'm gonna try to get the original Ultraman and a lot of stuff. It's just I also just heard like critiques on the compression and all and the transfers. It's like, well, it's not. I mean, it's the greatest, but it's not overly amazing, especially since these are old like HD masters, I believe, and they don't have it in English, which
yeah, yeah.
I don't.
They're
Yeah,
yeah, I mean, I think the transfers was like they've done, I think Japan has done like 3 or 4 Blu-ray transfers for the original Ultraman
sure.
because they've done it like because when Blu-rays first came out, they did a transfer then. It wasn't the greatest, but it was still a Blu-ray transfer. And then they
Mhm.
did another one for like the anniversary, and then another one after that for another anniversary. And so I think the Blu-ray transfer that the Steelbook one has, I think it's one of those transfers. If not, then because Mill Creek already did a release of the original Ultraman,
Yeah, I
they
remember
had the
that.
first half of season one and the second half of season one, and then there was a combined DVD box set.
I remember that one. Yeah,
I
with the little
think,
sleeves.
yeah, I think it's those ones just now in HD. But I mean, either way, I didn't mind them, you know.
Yeah,
I just remember that those ones had the English dub,
yeah,
but
and yeah.
and this steelbook set, it doesn't have the English dub.
Yeah, neither does the because I like the for me though, I prefer the I mean the only thing that the steelbooks have an advantage of is the aside from artwork is the shelf space because the I like the digipacks is I like that it aligns it creates a picture
Oh
and
yeah, that's the yeah for
yeah
that's not the steelbook release, I think.
that's
That's just a regular
standard
one,
the standard
the
one yeah
standard Blu-ray, but yeah, that does make a picture. Even with Tiga Dyna and Gaia just released, and those three make a picture.
yeah
So
it's yeah and I mean I didn't grow up with the old English dub so Japanese is fine for me but I know there's some of those people that want the English dub which is nice because I mean it's kind of like with the Showa box set of Godzilla that Criterion put out is that I really wish that they could have added the English dubs but then again it's mostly Toho that calls the shots not Criterion.
yeah, plus you've got like, plus you've got Universal, which still has the rights to the English dub and the American version of King Kong versus Godzilla.
And they were like
And
they
they're like, they're the only ones that can distribute it apparently in America, even though that
yeah
movie is like 50 years old now.
yeah and it's gonna be like more another anniversary next year for it but it's like the and it's funny because a lot of fans were like got like they come up with this whole theory is that oh like the Japanese version is on the bonuses because it was like last minute didn't care no I know Criterion cares about the Japanese and I know that Criterion I know knowing as knowing Criterion for like a good long time actually is that they strive for the original cuts first, and I'm pretty sure they wanted to include the Japanese version on the second disc. It's just that Universal was the ones that said no, it's our version that goes first, and you could put the Japanese version in second or like as a bonus features disc. And
Yeah, plus like I don't think like the Japanese did have like they had a DVD release of the original King Kong versus Godzilla.
yeah,
It wasn't until this year that they actually did a Blu-ray release for it
yeah, that's
because Godzilla versus Kong was coming out and they wanted to hop on that hype train and they released a Blu-ray for it and they actually have like they published a book um for it.
yeah,
So that's got like
yeah,
behind the scenes stuff. And I believe the Blu-ray that they put out was even a 4K Blu-ray.
yeah. It was. I think I sent you a link on that. It was the it was a 4K Blu-ray. There's also a Blu-ray too, but it's only Japanese exclusive. I mean, you can still play it here. You can get imported, and it's pricey
It
that
just
thing.
won't, yeah, have subtitles.
Yeah, at least it's. I mean, it doesn't have HCR, unfortunately, but like because I talked to the guy. I didn't talk to him first. I sent him. I responded to his video, and it was like, it's like, well, it looks perfect. It looks the best this movie's ever looked. It looks better than the transfer that Criterion had. But again, Criterion was stuck with an old 2014 restoration, which was just another Frankenstein cut of the movie because Toho really like even. I mean, Ishiro Honda really like wanted to like he didn't really care for the movie, so care for this movie, so he was just like, let me just cut this instead of cutting a copy, he cut down the negative, and they just like lost the footage that was supposed to be there, and until like 2015, that's when they found like a complete 35 millimeter print that was like I think close or a good copy of the negative, and that's how we got the 4K transfer that came out in 2016, and then they refined it in the recent release on 2021, I think, because just to like add the restoring the frame rate in a couple of shots. And from the screenshots I've seen, holy shit, I am mad that Toho does not want us to have this yet. And I feel that we're gonna get it. I really do. I'm one of those people that's very optimistic. It's just that it's gonna be a while until we get it because
Yeah, it's gonna be definitely gonna be a long while. But I mean, next year is technically the official 50th anniversary for that movie.
Yeah.
But it's also like the 40th anniversary of like Godzilla versus Gigan, so they're gonna celebrate that too.
Yeah,
So
they put out like they put out like 8 movies already out, and they look amazing. Even though that Andre and Kito Kai something, he's a kaiju YouTuber, Tokusatsu channel, and they were like, holy shit, like they were sharing this. And Gormaro was sharing it, and I even chatted with that guy a little bit, and he said, he just said like these screenshots do not make justice for how these transfers look amazing because I think he's seen the broadcast versions, I think, and he's like these screenshots do not like represent the beauty of these transfers. They look amazing, and I know that Hedera has this teal tint to it, but I know Criterion will like probably color correct it to way how it looked because a lot of people seem to like they know what Criterion is, judging from the show I said. It's like no, like they really even
they
John
do more than just that.
Yeah, and John Mulvaney. I mean, then again, because of the original Godzilla Criterion Blu-ray, that's how I got introduced to Criterion, I believe. No, actually, I think it was Rosemary's Baby.
Yeah,
But
my first Criterion, my first one was Seven Samurai because they like there was a deal on it. It was like originally like 45, maybe $50, and it was like on sale for like $20 or something like that week.
Yeah, it was a Barnes Noble probably, or like a flash sale or something.
Yeah, because I got it off of Amazon, so I think it was just a flash sale. And I haven't watched them yet, but I have the Criterion for the first two the only 2 Lady Snowblood movies. Because I watched the original ones with just online because I didn't think they were available in the US. But I still haven't seen that, still haven't watched those yet. I'll probably get around to I'll probably watch it like, maybe I'll watch them tomorrow. I mean, because tomorrow, my girlfriend, she's gonna be over for Christmas Eve and on Christmas. So if she wants to watch them, then we'll watch them. If not, then we're probably just gonna watch Hallmark movies or something like that.
It's because I know that even on Twitter, it looks like a lot of people are talking shit now about Criterion's. Like, oh, they could have done a better job. They didn't care about the set. Is that no? They wanted to do more with it. It's just that Toho would not allow them. I think even John Mulvaney or somebody that works like who was producing the set, he was like, we wanted to include them. It's just that we wanted to include like a faithful, because I know that I've seen some of the vlogs over the years, is that I believe they own prints of the original US versions, not like the original copies, but like at least a millimeter print that they can, like a 35 millimeter print they can use as a reference to do a restoration on the like an authentic US cut. It's just that Criterion was like, no, you're using what we're gonna give you. If not, then don't do it then. Because I believe that Toll doesn't want to face any lawsuits, but then again, like, don't they already revert to you guys already? Like, all the rights expire. It should all go to you. Even like the Godzilla 1985 assets should revert to you. So it's like, I mean, then again, 85 is a different story because of the music that was used. So it does make more sense for that one. But with the US versions of the Showa era films, they own that. So it's like, I mean, they could have used, let Criterion use them. I mean, Criterion, they said they want to go all out, and I say that they did. They did for what they had, they did the best they could, and I still love the set. I mean, I wish it could be more shelf friendly, but I mean, for what they had, I mean, at least they did the best with those old 2008 sub HD masters that they had. At least they did the best they could with it. I mean, and at first I was just like, I was upset that they had 3 movies on one disc, but it makes sense, a whole lot sense. Once I found out the real history behind these masters, it's like, oh, yeah. People are like, oh, so yeah, why does Mothra vs. Godzilla look so soft in that transfer? That's because the master that was used was so soft. It's like, why not just throw it in there with the other 2 movies? It was, yeah, and I'm glad these 4K masters are coming out now, slowly, but at least they're coming out. But it's gonna be a while. Even like, I feel that even Criterion wants to get a hold of the Heisei Millennium, because Janus, I think the partner, like a parent company of theirs, got a hold of like 85 and Violante. Like,
Yeah. Because they did a Blu-ray transfer of those, but they're out of print now.
Yeah, cracking. Yeah.
I'm still fingers crossed for a Blu-ray release of the American version of 1984 or 1985 or whatever.
Yeah.
Raymond Burr's, that's only on VHS.
Yeah, I have. Yeah. I try to get that burnt on a DVD or a Blu-ray at a LaGrange shop, and they're like, "Oh no, we can't do that because of it's illegal." It's like, oh yeah.
I mean, they do have it like taken from the VHS, and it's online somewhere now.
Yeah.
So you can watch it, and they did do like, some people who got a hold of it did put an HD filter on it.
Yeah. Yeah, and a lot of people are like, sorry.
Oh no, nothing. Sorry, I was just clearing my throat.
Yeah. And a lot of people are like, oh, why not just get like, why don't you just rip the Monsters HD version? But then again, the Monsters HD version has unfinished sound effects. It's like an unfinished version of the movie, and it has that watermark there anyway. So it's like, and it's like, it's very distracting, and also it's like, yeah, it's like there's some sound effects that are like different or just like not there when they're supposed to be. So basically, it's like the work print version of the American cut. So it's like, I'll just stick to the VHS for now, because that is the finished version, and I actually prefer the old VHS over the HD, because it's the final version that was out, and it's not a work print. And even like the Monsters HD crew said that, yeah, we just basically got a copy, but it was like a work print version. So it's like, oh, it's kind of like with classic media, how they did Godzilla versus the Thing, how they used the Monsters HD version, but what they didn't know is that it was cropped and zoomed in. It was like, shit. Yeah. I mean, people are like, oh, I hang out to those classic media DVDs because, they're nice to have. And also they have bonus features that are not on the Criterion because of rights issues, of course. But people are like, oh yeah, because it has the US version. But then again, those US versions not even faithful either. There's like, they just took the HD versions. I mean, which is cool. I don't mind that. It's just that there are still some frames and scenes and stuff like that missing in here and there and those versions. So it's like, it's not really a true US cut. So it's kind of like with The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, how like Kino Lorber tried to like recreate the US version on the first attempt on their Blu-ray, which was not successful. It was missing frames, clips that were missing, and then like on the 4K, they fixed all that because they actually got a hold of a copy and they used that as a reference, and they just took the 4K transfer that was given to them and they like color corrected it frame by frame so it doesn't look like someone took a piss on the film, and boom, and it's like, wow, holy shit, like y'all did a faithful recreation, and this is the authentic version. So yeah, I mean, fingers crossed. Yeah, fingers crossed for US 85, and hopefully Criterion will have access to the rest of the franchise, because I still think that, I still think they did a great job with the set despite their limited resources. And I think with these existing 4K because I think they can do a way better job with this, and I feel they can have more freedom because of the. I think they're going to create a new U.S. headquarters with Toho. I think in California. I think I don't know when the hell that's going to happen.
Mm.
But yeah.
But yeah, Spider-Man was really
Yeah.
good.
Oh yeah, no, it's a couple of a couple of things. Yeah, no, the first act of that film, I really liked the comedy there. Actually, like it was stereotypical homecoming comedy, but it was like, hey, it's just not, too forceful, like in your face. It was like, wow, I like their like, especially with MJ and Ned's interaction with Doctor Strange and all that stuff. I actually like that scene with the like Scooby Doo this shit.
Oh yeah.
That was funny. That was
There was
actually
it was, but there'd be times where like MJ would be like smack talking to Doctor Strange, and I'm like, like just knowing the Doctor Strange character, I'm like, does she really want to be doing that with Doctor Strange?
yeah, because he can do stuff, not just
Yeah.
balloon animals. Uh, but I really loved it. It's like I don't know if it's not my favorite or my second favorite of 2021 right now.
It's
It's
definitely my second favorite. Like I still live comfortably under the impression that Spider-Man 2 is still the best Spider-Man movie.
yeah, it's yeah. This is like my third. It's like top three is Spider-Man 2, Into the Spider-Verse, and this one. But then again, maybe Into the Spider-Verse I might switch it around. I mean, that'll go back and forth because I don't know. It's like you said, it's because of because these are the Spider-Man that were fun too. I mean, I love Miles and all that stuff, but then again, we just got to know him. But it's still great though. I still love both films, all three films. And if I'm gonna have a least favorite Spider-Man film, I mean, I could say The Amazing Spider-Man 2, but then again, I still like that movie. I don't think it's all that bad. There's a lot of fun
Yeah,
in
I
it.
like the Amazing Spider-Man 2.
Yeah, yeah, it really when I saw it, it really grew on me right away. And hey, what a way to get introduced to Andrew Garfield Spider-Man, and I really like that a lot. So it's yeah, I have the Blu-ray. I'm proud to own that thing, and I watch it every now and then, and I'm not ashamed of it.
yeah, I've really got nothing else to add. I mean, the movie was great. I like that we got closure for, all the characters, and it did make me want Amazing Spider-Man 3.
Yeah, maybe Spider-Man 4. Maybe just like throw them in, give them like another story arc for Andrew and Toby. Maybe they can cross paths again because there's rumors now that that's not the last time they're gonna cross paths with each other. So I was like, okay, cool, because it's really nice to see them. Oh yeah, also that whole my back like meme joke.
Oh, yeah, it's like the lower back thing. He's like, yeah, I get that when I swing around.
Yeah, it's it's the ultimate love letter right now for the fans and audiences because this movie's it broke records right now. I think it's second opening box office movie right now. I think it's worldwide as close as half or almost to $1 billion, I think, as far as I remember, or it's like
Yeah,
right.
which is crazy for, because we're still technically, in the pandemic and stuff.
Yeah. And double toasted like the crew, my favorite movie critics are like, yeah, it's like Spider-Man versus Omicron this season. It's like shit. Like, but it's at least, from working at a movie theater, at least people are most of the time being safe with the whole pandemic thing, which is nice. They're being respectful, but then there's always those types of people sneaking into those cracks and just wanting to try to fight us because oh my God, but yeah, it's even for a pandemic film, this is breaking records, and you know what? I'm happy for that, and it's gonna continue on.
Yeah, I still think the funniest thing that I've seen where it's like experts are trying to find out why Spider-Man has made so much money. And I'm like, I don't know if you've seen that article.
I think I had, yeah, I actually have actually. It's
Which is like, oh, you mean because it's a good movie?
yeah, and yeah, people love Spider-Man. He's like a cultural phenomenon in every worldwide. Ugh. That's like no, that's like saying, "Oh, Avengers are the next big Star Wars film. Why is it making so much money?" Because it's Star Wars and it's Avengers. I mean, the name sells, and yeah, it's good. Yeah, because No Way Home is a great. Yeah, it's a good movie. It's yeah, and yeah, it's funny. I think I've heard a couple of people who are like shading on it, or like heard that there's just mostly like nostalgia bait, which is like, what is in nostalgia these days?
Yeah,
Right?
it does play on the nostalgia, but it does it quite well, in my opinion.
Yes. I can even say the same thing for the Ghostbusters movie that came out, Afterlife. I mean, I can say that, yeah, maybe a nostalgic scene kind of halted the film a little bit, but then again, it's like it is still integral to the plot. I mean, if you haven't seen the new Ghostbusters, it's like, it's pretty sure for people who've seen it, pretty sure they know what scene I'm talking about, where it looks like it halted the movie for a bit, but I feel like it's fine. We need it. At least, we need it. At least, it's needed for the plot, but yeah.
Well, I don't have anything else to to add. You
Same, no.
know,
Yeah, this is all I gotta say is that, well, I mean, this video will probably go up on Christmas Eve or Christmas Day, so it'll,
makes sense considering the movie takes place around Christmas time. So
yeah, so yeah, I might just put this up on Christmas. So basically, Taigataro and everybody else, Merry Christmas if y'all are watching. It's yeah, it's no, this is really, really fun again talking to you again. It's
yeah,
really awesome.
yeah, been a while.
Yeah, it's I mean, yeah, this has been a wild year for real. It's like the return of the movie theaters are back, and along came a spider that fully opened it. First, it was a giant monkey and a giant.
First it was Chunky versus Monkey, and
Yeah,
now
that
it's
opened.
Spider-Man.
Yeah, so yeah. I mean, it's probably I'd say it's three. It's Godzilla versus Kong. Then it was A Quiet Place Part Two because that broke that first movie to break 100 million, and now it's Spider-Man No Way Home. So it's like still though, it's clearly like it shows that movie theaters are still going to strive. And for all the naysayers that say, "Oh, Ken, I'm glad that they're going to close." Well, I see y'all are still coming to the theaters and yet talking shit.
Yeah, you're still going and seeing Spider-Man.
Yeah, people are going to come up with the whole argument that, "Oh, well, there's no way to see it, man. It's the only way we can see it." Well, I mean, if you're going to talk shit, then stand your ground. If not, then all right, then I'll
Yep.
go see it. So, but it's yeah, because I know there's still people out there that I personally know that, oh yeah, man, y'all movie theaters, I'm glad they're closing, man. Like it's expensive and all that shit. It's like, well, you're gonna go see Spider-Man in theaters? Hell yeah, man. I'm excited. It's like,
Yeah.
yeah. But hey, it's now up for pre-order for physical media, folks, if you guys are interested. Shit. It's going for almost $50, but it's like, of course, not the real price. I don't know why Amazon does this shit.
Well, yeah, this was fun. I gotta head out. I've got another call that I have to get on because I'm now back at square one for making some promotional material for my next novel, and
Nice, nice.
it's just been a crazy day. It's
Yeah,
been crazy.
yeah. All right then, man. It was nice talking to you. It's really nice.
Yeah.
And yeah, I hope you guys enjoy this video and I hope you guys enjoyed the show.